Hey guys, welcome to tonight's game of Numenera called Labyrinth. I'm your LDM, and I'll be running it here on my channel. So I've got a few people here today. I'll get them to introduce themselves and their characters. I'll start with Troy, please.
Hi, my name is Troy Spencer. I have a small channel called DMT Tabletop Gaming. Today I'm going to be playing a character. His name is Macer OC46. The OC stands for official count 46 because Macer is the 46th male that's been born into his family line, which dates back to several generations where the original FOD came across a god machine and started a process in which all the males of said family line have developed psionic abilities. So Macer's driving force is working towards developing sentience, or sorry, not sentience, but rather evolving to a point where he's no longer in need of his physical form and is just pure energy. Are we going to do a little intro for our characters beyond this point, Lloyd?
Yeah, you sure can.
Game?
Yeah.
All right. So are we at the labyrinth?
Yeah, you'll be starting off. You've been walking through the Beyond, trying to get from one town to another, and in your way is just this thing. It looks like cliffs initially, and you get closer and closer, and not cliffs. It's some enormous maze, and it stretches out for miles in every direction. Way too far to be going around it. It seems to stretch on for like a couple dozen miles in each direction, so it's pretty huge. And you figure you might as well go through it.
Very good. All right, so you see Macer, and he's a tall 6'3", very slight of build gentleman. He's wearing a black robe. He doesn't appear to be wearing any type of armor, and the only weapon you can see on him is strapped around a belt which holds his robe tight to his body. You see a small dagger. As he walks closer to this landform in front of him, you see him rocking back and forth and twiddling his thumbs. He's kind of nervous. He's got a twitchiness about him. Doesn't really exude confidence as he approaches this thing, even though he's spent the last 20 years of his life delving into these dark, deep, secretive places of the beyond. As he gets closer, you hear him chanting names. Gregor, OC21. Lionel, OC14. Frederick, OC8. And another has been here as well. Malik, much fresher. Yes. OC42. Uncle Malik. I remember you, you crazy fucker. Mother told me you've since passed on. They found you underneath a large woman down in Draolis. Sad way to go, Uncle Malik. They said you were close. You were close to finding out the advancements of forethought and divination. Pity you couldn't foresee that woman taking your whole heart past its threshold. But fear not, Uncle. Macer is here now, and I will continue our family's search for the information. My lingering spirit will be added to this place. Wish me luck in finding that in which I seek. And as he finishes his little rant to himself, he pulls up this little black circular piece of metal or stone. It's hard to decipher what it is. And it kind of hovers in his hand, and up pops this scanning holographic image. And you see him just quickly read some more information of what you would perceive to be trying to gather some old lore that he would have, his previous ancestors, the 4 names that he had mentioned, who had been to this location before, would have left behind.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me see. I can tell you something then. That's pretty cool. I can tell you that one of them put a diary entry in there about being here, and it says a month has gone by, and we've spoken to both camps of creatures. They seem totally at odds. What their original purpose was, they don't seem to recall. But from my readings of the ancient scrolls, I know that something is bound at the center of this maze, and that creatures were put here to keep it here. Maybe they're those creatures.
Very good. So I intake all that information, and when the time is right, I will share it with my companions. One of which I've traveled with before, the individual known only as the Professor. Him and I have delved into these dark rooms of the beyond before, and so we have a bond with one another, and we have learned to work together.
Excellent. Okay, who would like to go next? Okay, I'll just pick Dave.
Okay, that's cool. I guess another one of the companions of the party walks up the rocky path towards the, I guess what could be called the entrance, hopefully, to the maze. He's wearing tattered robes and using a metallic staff of some sort as a walking stick. And you guys can see that his head is fairly clean shaven. The hands that grip the staff painfully seem to reflect metallically off the glaring rays of the sun that beats overhead. And as he gets closer, he peers up at the looming wall of the maze that's in front of the party, and he tries to stand straighter. You guys can almost hear possibly the sound of his weary bones maybe creaking as he stands up and squints at the maze itself. He thrusts his hand out, and the staff that he holds seems to be absorbed actually back into his body, and you can see almost as if there are living nodules or almost like circuitry of some sort, almost like a pattern that moves around on his hands and his forearms as the staff is kind of absorbed back into his body, and he kind of gives out a weary sigh. And with that, he kind of turns and looks down the path at the rest of the party coming towards him.
Sweet. Okay, who would like to go next? It doesn't have to be a big fancy introduction if you have nothing prepared. It's not a big deal. You can just say who your dude is and who you are. There's no pressure.
All right. Hi, my name is Keith Hershey Jr. I'll be playing Maximus Silton, a clever nano who speaks with machines. As he comes walking down the path to the entrance to the labyrinth here, he's dressed. He's got some robes, some gloves on, and a helmet. And you'll see they have. You see lines of computer code streaming along the armor, and he's got these bright brass, big round buttons buttoned down his robe. Also up on his helmet, towards the back, it's got a box shape on the back, and periodically coming from the back end of that, you'll see a bunch of very small machines skittering about the area. As he approaches Durant, it seems like you see some electrical discharge coming from some of those small machines, and I step a little, give myself some distance from Durant. I'm like, interference from Durant on my machines. All right.
Perfect.
Apologies, my friend. Apologies.
I also just love the fact that in Numenera we've got a party of mostly old men. That never happened in D&D. Everyone's just like old and wrecked. It's great.
Professor?
You're muted. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I was preoccupied. Okay. Hello, everybody. The professor returning. So you'd see like a man he sits comfortably in a chair, his legs crossed, head down, a gray top hat sits atop this figure's head, and he's got like various doodads and baubles tucked in the plaid uh, brim. And these massive walls of stone or some material loom up before him, and the opening presents itself directly across from this sitting figure. And there's a scribbling sound, and a quill twitches back and forth in the hand of this man. Looking over his shoulder, a pad of paper can be seen, and there's various notes jotted down on it with no real order. You see arrows extend from, some of the notes pointing at various places on this newly drawn image of the Great Wall. And he lifts his head, and like one eye's closed, and the other, there's a monocle pinched tightly in place, and he peers very hard at the obstacle before him for a moment, and just drops his head once more, scribbling away. You just kind of hear him, speaking to no one in particular. He's like, not impossible, just a bit unlikely. Interesting. And he stands, the chair disappearing with a snap and a little puff of smoke, and he tucks the pad into the pocket of his vest, and he straightens his dovetail jacket, and he just waits.
Sweet. So, you guys have basically walked to the entrance of this thing, and it's pretty huge. The walls are about 300 feet up into the air, and the path in front of you is about 50 foot across, and that seems to be the case. What you can see the whole way. The path stretches quite a bit ahead, and there's a few turns left and right. The walls seem to be made of some kind of metal. They're rusted in parts, and you can see like nature is trying anyway to reclaim it. There are bits of grass breaking through the stone, and there's vines trying to climb up the metal, and it all looks a little bit like it's been here quite a long time. So yeah, there seems to be just one way in. What do you feel like doing?
You see Macer as he comes up to the entrance. He wears a what looks to be like a leather satchel over one shoulder, draped down to the left hip. He reaches in, and when he does, he pulls out a little, what looks to be some form of headgear device. So he pulls back his robe, and when he does, you see all this wispy white hair sticking out, kind of like, Einstein back in the day, just kind of flowing out crazily. And he puts on this headpiece, this piece of headgear, and there's a big node in the front. And as the lights come up across the front of the headband, the little node opens up, and out flies this what looks to be like a metal ladybug of sorts, but instead of red and black, it's actually like silver. And you see Nasser, he closes his eyes, and when he opens his eyes, they're like completely white. And the ladybug flies forward into the gap, into the entrance of the labyrinth. So I'm going to roll d6, Lloyd. And depending on the roll, that the d6 is going to determine how many 500s of feet this thing could travel.
Oh, nice. Okay, so it's a scanner, yeah?
Yeah, it's a scanner. So 2,000 feet.
Wow,
from me.
Nice. Okay, so with an absolute zip, legs it into the thing, and you can see it occasionally stop to scan something. Like it flies up and it stops at a vine and scans it and carries on, stops at a little bit of an attempt of a tree to break out through the rock and scans that too, and goes on in a straight line for, like you said, about 2,000 feet. You lose sight of it pretty quickly, and it then returns, and with a series of beeps and whirs, it tells you what's up ahead, and that is basically that the path stays the same in terms of width, and it went all the way 2,000 feet, and it continued on from there, but there were several right and left turns along the way, some of which ended in dead ends, some of which seemed to stretch on for as far as it could see. it didn't encounter any creatures or anything.
Okay, so in addition to the information shared, there was also a visual adaptation with that I was able to see some of that myself as well. So there's some visual residual memory from myself as well so I might be able to recall something as we go forth. So I share that information with the crew.
As this, as he sends that drone out or whatever, the professor waits for but a moment, and then just a big goofy smile crosses his face, and he looks over his shoulder at Meiser, and he says, "Surely, you don't mean to let this magnificent mechanical amalgamation have all the glorious splitter of exploration and adventure," and jets straight away into the labyrinth right after it, not even waiting to hear response of any information to be divvied out by this thing. He intent on his own discoveries. Grabs his hat. Tally ho!
Just kind of laugh at him as he runs off like a madman into the unknown.
Durant having none of it.
I shake my head and bump the square satchel at my hip, and you guys hear a slight kind of chitter chatter or squeal from inside of it, and it kind of bumps back, and I say, "Why can't you do that?" And then I'll look at Macer and Maximus, and kind of give them a nod and say, "Well, shall we?"
It appears safe so far. Let's go. Let's go see what's in here. Of course, we can't let the professor go off by himself. He'll get himself killed.
I'm surprised he hasn't already.
Indeed. Shall we? Let's go forth then. And as I step forward, you see me pull into my little satchel again and bring out a little vial, what looks to be this wispy black smoke. And as I uncork the top, this black smoke kind of comes up and envelops me as so I've got this wispy black smoke, these tendrils of black smoke just illuminating off of me as I step into the entrance.
As you enter, Durant, you hear the Legion in your head. So the first adventure Durant went on, he opened a jar and a symbiote jumped out and entered his brain. And it makes him a lot more intelligent, but it also shares information and tells him what to do sometimes. And it says, "This place is old and not of this world."
I kind of grumble and say, "Tell me something I don't know for a change." I'll kind of hit the side of my head, and kind of shake my head to try to get it to shut up for a moment. And then I'll kind of look sheepishly. I'll kind of look over my shoulder to make sure that the other party members don't see this going on.
It says, "Everything you know is thanks to us." So walking through, the place is pretty quiet. You hear like a really loud echo as you walk, so your boots just clack on the ground, and because of the enormous walls on either side, it just like echoes really loudly. Everything you say as well echoes really loudly in the place. And you walk for maybe 5-10 minutes, and then you see the first turn. And it looks like it goes on for a little bit, but it's definitely a dead end. You can see a wall at the end. Nothing takes your notice in there, so I guess you would walk past.
Are there any specific markings or anything on any of the walls, or?
It's totally bare, apart from
Really?
the life. It looks totally uniform. You also don't see. It looks as if it was carved from one big piece of metal. There's no.
Oh, wow. No
marks,
seams or?
Yeah, no seams. So.
And the flooring of this area, is it dusty, or any way can you see any tracks or anything like that?
You could
Right.
attempt to.
Can we see the way the professor ran to?
Oh yeah. He's not that far ahead of you.
Oh, okay.
If we could
for tracks, you could do that too.
Yeah, I could do some searching and see if I could see which way tracks go, or what type of tracks we could see, and see if we could decipher how many people have been in here in the recent times.
Do you have any skills that are appropriate for tracking, or?
I have searching.
Okay.
I don't know if that's appropriate.
Yep. So.
Go ahead, Professor.
Would I have noticed these tracks as well?
Well, from my understanding, you were legging it in there, running. You probably wouldn't have been looking for them at this stage.
Okay. I didn't know how obvious they were.
Yeah, they're not. He'll have to look for them to spot them.
I'm going to roll the d20 here.
Yes, please. Your difficulty is going to be it's going to be a 9 because you have search.
Yeah, I'm good then.
Okay. So looking at the ground, it's mostly rock, but there are parts of dirt and stuff at the kind of interspersed, and you do see a footprint, but it's actually a 3-toed footprint, so it's definitely not human. It looks like there's 2 toes at the front and 1 at the back. Yeah,
Check this out. Check this out, Durant. Have you seen anything like this in your travels? And I bend down and present myself as showing them this footprint in the ground or in the dust.
I'll walk over where Macer's pointing, and I'll kind of kneel down and look, and then I'll crack open the box at my side and say, "Have you seen anything like that?" Neither. And I look at Macer and go, "No, not yet." I have a feeling we're going to find out, though.
Maximus?
In the box, there are a tiny group of alien musicians.
They're giving away all my secrets, man.
But for people who haven't seen it before.
So they're literally miniature, small, little alien musicians?
Mariachi band.
Mariachi band, man.
Yeah.
Nice. So he's getting information from all types of different angles.
Yeah, Durant has a little squad.
They don't, they don't
really help.
Those tracks look unfamiliar.
I've seen nothing like it, and I've seen a lot of odd things in my travels.
Yes.
Shall we continue on? The professor is surely to get himself into trouble, as he often does.
Yes, we need to keep up with him.
I got a question, Lloyd. Do the tracks look to be bipedal, or can we tell? Or can Macer tell?
Yeah, he would be able to notice. Yeah, they look like it's walking on two legs for sure.
Okay.
And any level of indentation to decipher how heavy this creature is, if it's large or.
You probably would have to roll a little bit higher to figure out that level of detail.
Okay. Three toes, 2 legs.
Yep.
Continue on.
Definitely not human.
Okay.
So the professor, are you running ahead, or are you going to wait for the rest of the group?
I would imagine, he's moving along. He's stopping occasionally to examine this or that, and to scribble in his notepad, and make some more, notes. Just kind of going back and forth, one side or the other, up, down, floor, walls. This is all new to him, so he's quite intrigued. He might not be moving quickly, but he's definitely still moving.
Okay. So you guys have a... Sorry, go ahead, Troy.
I was just saying, at this stage, we've only went in and taken 1 turn, so it's not a maze to the point where we're going to get lost. But
no, you definitely know where you're going still.
Okay, so at any point, if Macer gets the feeling that it's becoming a clusterfuck of directions, I'm going to want to try and figure out some means of finding my way back into this labyrinth.
Yeah. Well, you've got a layout, kind of from your scanner of the entrance anyway, and the path leading from there for about 2,000 feet.
I'll walk over to one of the nearest walls, because you said they're metal, right, Lloyd?
Yeah.
And I'll put my hand up on the wall, and since I'm fused, who fuses flesh and steel, a nano, would it be possible for me to use my scan ability and see if I can get any kind of feel for the three-toed creatures maybe up ahead or something like that? Sure. Even though I can't see them, kind of almost like vibrations or, you know.
So to use scan is what? It's 2 intellect points, but you
it's 2 points.
So it'll be 1 for you.
Okay.
Because you have an edge in intellect.
Okay.
So you put your hand on the wall and you feel a sort of hum.
Mhm.
And you, because you are kind of metallic, you get the feeling that this metal is definitely not of Earth. It's definitely not something that you've seen before. It's kind of silvery in appearance, but it's warm when you touch it. And yeah, there's like a hum, sort of thrum of vibrations and energy as you touch it. Um, you don't get a feeling of any creatures nearby.
Okay. I don't tell the other guys that because it wasn't anything pertinent.
Mhm.
I'll fall back in line and bring up the rear.
So, Professor, as you're running ahead, you hear somewhere nearby a sort of meh, followed by a laugh.
All right. I approach fearlessly, thoroughly intrigued, wondering why there's a goat in here and what it finds so funny. I must know.
So yeah, you hear like a meh, 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 as if it's the same voice. Um, so you want to approach that noise?
Absolutely.
Okay. Are you? You're just walking straight ahead?
Of course.
Okay. So you come to a corner, and it's like a pretty short dead end, it's about 50 feet in. And as you turn that corner, you see a couple of people there, but they're not really people. Some of them have goat parts. See, a couple of them have almost like a satyr. They've got like goat legs, but human top halves. One of them has an enormous goat head instead of a human head, and there's actually some normal goats hanging out there too. And they all seem to be sitting around this fire and talking and laughing and having a good time.
All right. I want to go sit next to him if there's an open spot by the fire.
Sure, yeah. So you approach, and one of them turns. Yeah, yeah. Welcome, friend. Take a seat.
Salutations, of course. Thank you. I'll pop a squat. I'm gonna pull out my notepad and begin scribbling down, a likeness of these creatures.
Hmm. So the big guy with the goat head. What are you doing in this maze? It's pretty dangerous in here.
What am I doing? Answers are easy. It's asking the right questions, which is hard.
So he turns to a goat next to him, and he goes, meh, meh, meh. And the goat replies similarly, and he like nods wisely.
So fascinating dialect you have there.
Well, the elder agrees with you. The questions are the important thing. And you see this goat has got like this fantastic goatee and like these really dramatic horns. Um, so that seems to be the elder of the group. And
Right.
they basically offer you some food. They're eating. They're having a nice little time. You guys are approaching now. You can hear the buying and stuff from nearby.
Um, when he offers me this food, uh, does anything look off about it? I'm gonna put my monocle in,
Uh-huh.
pinch it between my eye, and basically just give the food the stink eye. To me, I'll be able to see the different array of information stuff splayed out across the lens as I cast scan.
Yeah, it's like a stew, and there's meat in there, but an undetermined type of meat. There's some vegetables, but they're also undetermined. It's all a bit weird. It's a lot of mushrooms, and definitely some meat.
And we've approached at this point, you said?
Yeah, you're just rounding the corner.
Okay.
Yeah, not to be rude, I'll accept the food, and I'm gonna my side, just keep observing them and look at the elder and compliment. That's a magnificent beard you have. I once tried to grow a beard. Looked horrible, horrendous. Just didn't have the patience to groom it.
The elder kind of nods wisely. Meh, meh, meh.
What kind of reaction do we get once they see the three of us come from around the corner or whatever?
So similarly, I mean, they're pretty friendly. They kind of wave you over. Like, come sit. Come. Welcome. It's always nice to see new faces around here. Yeah.
Meet my new friends.
Since you're a new French professor, can you introduce us, please?
Yes, this gentleman right here is Magnificent Beard. And I assume that these are his concubines, as I gesture to the other, the actual goats. And surely these are his esteemed colleagues I sit with.
They aren't reaching for any weapons or anything, are they?
They're not. No. You see that they are armed, though.
Oh, really? Wow.
A lot of Well, it's they kind of go in scale from like almost normal people who are particularly hairy in the face to people who are just full goats. And they seem to all communicate as if they're one thing. So it runs the gamut from people who are just a little bit hairy to people to just goats, and everything in between. One guy has a goat head but a human body. Others have goat legs but human top halves and stuff. And
as I approach, I'm gonna go up to. It's like a communal pot. Is what these guys are eating from.
Yeah, it's like a cauldron.
Right. Okay, so I have this bracer on my arm, and as I approach, you hear this slight click, and this blade protrudes from the front of this bracer, and I kind of stick my blade down into the pot, skewering a piece of meat and bringing it out, and then I sit cross-legged, and I kind of smell it for a moment first, and if it smells okay, I'm gonna just sample it and start eating it, and just keeping an eye on the magnificent bearded one to see if I can decipher some of this secretive goat language that they're speaking back and forth.
Yeah, meat seems fine. It's kind of bland and chewy, but it's fine. You notice that all the people and the goats have those goat eyes. So even the ones who are human have those goat eyes. I don't know how to explain.
Goat eye.
Goats have particularly weird eyes.
They got spooky eyes for sure, man.
Yeah, it looks like they have two pupils, but I don't know how to explain.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Good enough. Okay.
Right. They have particularly weird eyes for animals, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, they continue to just chat away with you, and they kind of say like, oh, we moved in here because it's pretty dangerous out there in the plains. But once we got in here, it was it's pretty dangerous in here too. But they don't seem to bother us here in this little corner. They don't like to come too close to the entrance.
They?
Oh yeah. There's plenty of things around here that are pretty dangerous.
Can you direct me to these things? I have a stick, and it thirsts for a good poking.
Well, I mean, if you continue along the path you were going on, if you keep going, you'll eventually meet the green man.
The green man, you say?
Oh yeah.
Tell me more about this green man, if you would be so kind.
Well, they kind of look like you. They kind of look like us, except that they have more arms and they're green. And well, they don't really look that much like us. They've got no mouth and no nose.
They have more arms.
Yeah, they've got 4.
So from the information given and the information I've received from my ancestors that's been there before, the 4 other of my line that's been in this, can I decipher that this is one of the groups that were?
Yeah.
The goats are one group of the people, and the green people are the other. These are the 2 groups that were mentioned in the message.
Well, it was unclear. He said there were 2 factions, but you would assume that that's probably the case.
Okay.
Currently envisioning the most splendid game of rock, paper, scissors with these green men.
I wave Maximus over to the pot and point, and give him the eat gesture.
All right, I'll approach and reach out for a bowl. And as I do, you see some nanites scurry up into the bowl to taste it, and I start communicating with him.
That's why I like you, Maximus.
Origin unknown. Don't know what kind of meat this is.
Yeah, they have no idea either. They're like, yeah, it's definitely meat. But that's as far as I know. So the goat dudes are like, you know, we don't really go that far in. The further you go in, the weirder stuff gets. You know, there's a kind of a checkpoint where we meet the green men, and beyond that, well, we don't really know so much. But I'll tell you a secret. And and the elder goes, meh. And he goes, well, you know, I just think, yeah, and trust them, and yeah. And the elder's like, meh. And so they all kind of look to the elder, and the elder starts talking in goat, and he tells you this beautiful story, but you have no idea what it is. And you can see them all enraptured by this incredible story that he's telling, and at the end they're like,
Yeah, I would have been, just kind of like looking, just nodding, knowingly, and give a standing ovation as well when he finishes. Bravo! Splendid.
Does Legion have any idea of what was just said?
Legion figures a little bit of it out, and he says, there's a thing at the center of the maze, they think. Something
Now,
big.
If he has what I think he has, that green goo.
He had a red goo, but yeah, you've got a similar thing.
See, I got the green one, which gives you the intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if Franklin would know anything.
Franklin?
Oh, he's got a symbiote on his ear as well.
This is the issue when you run the adventure twice.
Uh,
So, yeah, your symbiote doesn't seem to know so much about this particular goat language, Professor. But Durant still seemed to kind of get a few little hints, and they think that it's to do. The goat's talking about a creature at the center of this maze, and that whatever it is, it's very large.
Is this a pet of the green men?
That's unclear.
Are the green men hostile?
The goatmen say no, they're not aggressive. They just don't let us through. They sort of guard the approach into the deeper maze.
Well, if they're guarding something, surely that means that there's something worth seeing. I must be off. But this thing needs seeing.
Don't do it, Professor. Don't do it.
As I stand up to leave to accompany the professor, the wisps of smoke go out over the fire and everything, and it makes an uneasy appearance to all that see me. So these goat people might also be intimidated by my presence at this point. But I'm going to try and question them further anyway, and I'm going to ask if the way forward is clear. Is it an obvious route to the center of the maze and to these green people? And if not, would they be willing to provide us with some form of guidance and or directions?
Mm-hmm. The elder starts to talk, and he says, meh, meh, meh. And the guy next to him says, oh, excuse me, I'll translate. The way is clear. There's a direct path almost to, well, for a couple of days, in fact, before you get to the Watchers. The Green Men. That's what they call themselves. They call themselves the Watchers. When we talk to them, they occasionally will mention that. What they're watching, they wouldn't really tell us. But if you continue on the path outside here, straight on, for a couple of days, you'll get to their checkpoint.
Couple of days?
Oh yes, this place is enormous.
I'm going to ask if I can have some of their glorious meat to go.
You get it in a to-go cup.
I'm being serious. I want some meat.
Help yourselves. Take what you need.
I'm definitely going to take a little sampling to take with me.
Okay. All right. Well, are we agreed then that we want to see what these green men are all about then?
Yeah, Macer's all about discovery, and if his ancestors have been here in the past, then he also wants to see what they would have seen and discovered as well.
Okay. All right. Well, since this maze is directly in the path of Durant's quest for a cure, then he's all for it. So, Maximus, what say you?
Proceed forward? Question mark. Well, you can see it in my robe. And I start talking with the nanites. And yes, it is agreeable to proceed.
All right. Well, I think the professor is probably on his way, right? So we'll try to catch up with him.
Tally ho!
So you're able to get back out where you came, and you continue on that road. And it's uneventful. Like, every now and then you see a turn, but you were told if you want to get to these green men, you continue forward. So I don't know if you want to take those turns or not.
Mind you, I'm jotting all of this down in my notepad.
Yeah. At one stage, you're continuing, and you see a turn to your right. And as you're walking by, silently, the wall on your left kind of evaporates, and then the wall on your right begins to build up, and that path is closed, and the one on the left opens up. But you're still able to continue forward.
Interesting. Seems these walls are alive. There's machinery here.
You know, it's almost liquid in the way that it changes. So it kind of fizzles out and evaporates, and then kind of bubbles up on the other side.
And it is solid?
It's solid. Once you touch it again, yeah, it's solid.
Okay.
Is it like nanites, literally, like physical nanites, like breaking down and then reassembling elsewhere?
You would think something like that, yeah.
This is definitely intriguing to me.
Yes, very much so. Yes.
It would appear that it wants us to go this way. Are you feeling adventurous? Or shall we continue on forward to the center?
This wall's not the boss of me.
No, surely it isn't.
And it's trying to impede the path to the right, you say?
Yeah, you were continuing forward, and just as you're walking, there's a turn to your right, and there was like a flat wall to your left. And what happened is, as you're walking, the wall on the left kind of disappeared and opened a path, and the wall on the right just closed up.
Okay. I'll start walking to the left.
So like spatial distortion.
Yeah.
But do we only have really one direction to go? Or is this an optional direction to the left?
You can go anywhere you want, yeah. I mean, you can go to the left, but you were told if you want to get to these green men, they said to go straight for a couple of days. But you don't know how trustworthy those goat men are either. They seem like nice dudes, but you know.
They're fucking goats.
Yeah.
Never trust them. Never stand beyond a goat. It's fat. I'm going to listen at the left gap that just opened. I do have listening skills, so I'm going to just listen to see if I can decipher if there's any immediate sounds down that alleyway or whatever it is, corridor.
Okay. Do you want to do a roll?
If you want me to, sure.
The direction that they suggested we go, I go the other way.
So you see Macer reach into his little satchel again and pull out that same headgear, but this time instead of sending out a probe, you see this like cylinder thing come out of the headgear and wrap around his ear, and he kind of like points his side of his head down the alleyway, and I rolled quite high, 17.
Yeah, you can hear
with skill.
Someone muttering to themselves down there, not too far away.
All right, there's
Kinda
definitely
like a
someone down there. Can't just
Pop up in front of his hearing thing. What do you hear?
I hear someone muttering. Do I know the language or what they're saying exactly?
Yeah, it's hard to make out the words, but you make out some of them. You hear alone, months, guardians.
All right, so it sounds like there's someone gone mad from being alone and being stuck in here for a very long time. He says months. Said something about guardians, but it's hard to decipher the details of what he's saying. He's obviously mad. Someone that you might be able to communicate with there, Professor.
This is a prime opportunity.
Hmm.
Well,
We are here for adventure.
let's not dally around, gentlemen. Who? The one Durant.
Professor?
Uh,
Why do you hesitate?
You look like a stout fellow. Surely you would
Also-
like to take point.
Also, Lloyd, is there any shadows within these walls? Because if there is, I'm going to try to like meld into the shadows using my, cloaking shadow wisps and try to like get as close to the wall and.
Absolutely. The whole place is like it's daytime, but the sun is not directly above you, and so everything is shadowed by the walls. The walls are huge, so it's about 300 feet up. So everything, in terms of like if the sun isn't directly above you, would be entirely in shadow.
Yeah, so I'm definitely trying to hug the walls and stay in the shadows as much as possible, using my my nanite ability to manipulate the shadows as well to keep myself as hidden as possible going forward. I'm okay to take the lead.
I'll open my the case and allow the mariachi band to start playing a mournful tune, and I'll say, Professor, I wouldn't want to take or hog any of the glory of discovery from you now.
Well, there's an ancient proverb you may have heard. Sometimes, when you are presented with something of an unknown origin, it's best to do the smart thing and let somebody else go first.
The Legion in your head, Professor, says, "Yes, wise, let them go first." And the Legion in your head, Durant, says, "Do not trust him. Let him go first."
All right, I'll turn to Macer and say, "If you please, my friend."
And I
I'll,
slink off down the corridor.
The
I'm gonna-
Legion in your head, Durant, says, "A sibling of mine in this creature, very dim-witted."
The host seems quite unique as well, I must say.
An
gonna-
interesting character.
I'm going to act preoccupied, scribbling stuff down. Otherwise, just making a show of being busy, waiting for everybody else to go first.
So you guys continue down this little this path, and you see not far, maybe 10 minutes from where you were. It's actually a dead end, and at the end there's a sort of like a barrier made of like roots and logs, and also like a couple of sandbags and clothes and stuff all thrown together. And behind it is this old man. He's got this crazy white hair and this raggedy beard, and he's kind of wearing what once you think were probably orange robes, but now are just like tattered to bits. This long rifle, and he's just like shaking and training it at you. He says, "No, no, away!"
Okay. Well, Macer's in front, so he should
He
probably.
sees me in the shadows. He's able to spot me.
Oh yeah,
As I put my hands up in a gesture of.
I didn't mention. He's got a what would you call it? Like a visor on
Right.
as
Okay.
well. He's actually got a couple of there's also an orb floating around his head. So he's got a couple of things that look like they're probably ciphers or artifacts even.
So yeah, I put my hands up in a gesture of peace. Calm down. We're not here to harm you.
I'm on no one's side. No one's on my side.
No one. We'd like to talk about these others.
I don't trust you. Danger. Always danger.
Put the gun down, old man. If we were here to hurt you, you'd be dead already.
What? He trains the gun on you.
That was exercised with the utmost of tact, Durant. Well played.
Has the crazy old kook behind the barrier with the gun takes his gun off of me and puts it on my fellow. I'm going to go ahead and use one of my estuaries.
Mm-hmm.
So you see me put my hand up to my temple just briefly, and my eyes go milky white again, and then the shadows that surround me kind of spiral above me, and they kind of like go up as high as possible, and then slowly start going over towards where the gentleman is standing, and then abruptly they're gonna like rush forward, slamming into him. I'm gonna attempt to push him back away from the barrier.
Okay.
With the hopes of dislodging his weapon.
Sure. How does that esoteric work? What
So as a push, it's going to cost me 2 intellect, and I can push a foe an immediate distance in any direction. So I don't. That's how vague it is. It just says immediate direction.
Sure. So that's about 10 foot. So,
so you see this snake-like cylinder of smoke come down abruptly and smash into this thing's torso. If there's a wall that's within a pushing distance, if I can push said guy up against one of those walls, that would be ideal.
Okay, you push him back, and he's got a little hut behind him. He goes into the wall of the hut, and he drops the rifle. He goes, no, danger, no!
I wink at the professor, who's not here now to see me. Oh, there he is, yeah. I give him the wink, like, yeah. Tactics, buddy, tactics. And then I'll move up towards the old man.
Okay, he's lying on his back, and he's kind of shouting, danger, no, help, no!
All right, I don't have much sympathy for this guy. I've seen many things, and we really need to, if anything, find out what he's babbling about. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Somebody say something?
No. I'm sorry. I don't know if Durant's actually saying this out loud.
No, I'm just kind of giving you guys an idea of what I'm doing.
Okay.
So I'll go up to him and kind of grab him by the shoulders, and I'll kind of give him a rough shake, and actually I'll give him a smack, across the cheek, and say, "Pay attention, old man. What are you babbling about?"
He tries to grab you and push you off him.
Oh wow. Okay.
You can see he's very afraid.
He looks terrified, actually, huh?
Yeah.
And he is just a human, just a crazy old man.
Just looks like a crazy old man, yeah.
At that, I'll kind of turn to the other guys, and I'll shake my head like this guy's a lost hope.
Does the orange robes look like of any office or anything we would have seen?
Yeah, you guys would know that. Usually Aeon priests wear orange robes.
Okay. Here you go.
Right, so this is a man of some knowledge and some
but his brain
prestige.
Is cracked.
Yeah, for people watching, Aeon priests are like members of the Order of Truth, which is the religion in Numenera, but it's a religion about secularism and about science. And out here in the Beyond, Aeon priests tend to kind of govern small towns, trying to learn about the Numenera and the artifacts and stuff. They also often do what you guys do, which is go on missions to see weird things and stuff. So you make the assumption that this is one of these guys.
All right, so my knowledge of the priest, I want to, by any means necessary, get the information that he would have obtained about the Numenera that would be present at this location. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to attempt to do a scan. So what you see from Macer at this point is the wisps of smoke and shadows come around his head, and then go, and I kind of grab the Aeon priest by the head. He's restrained he's still on his back or flopping around, so I'm going to grab him by the head, and the smoke is going to like go into his mouth. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do a mental scan of his memories, if I can, using my psychic abilities.
Sure.
So I'm going to use scan, but it's going to be like modified slightly.
I'm on board.
So I'm going to try to break into his brain box and try to steal the memories of anything he might have about the Numenera, especially. So if I only have so much time to get in there, that's the information I'm going for.
Okay. Because this isn't a standard way to use scan, I'm just going to make you do a roll to see how effective you are at like figuring out the chaos of this guy's mind.
Sure.
So it'll just be a difficulty 12.
I did not pass.
Okay. So you.
I can use. What would I use there if I wanted to reduce that?
It would be intellect, but it would be before the roll.
Oh, okay. So I failed. Crazy kook. Get nothing from you.
So you kind of reach into
I
this
told
guy's
you.
mind, and it's chaotic. You do see lots of images and stuff. You see images of these. What amounts to the description you heard of these four-legged guys? I'll show you a picture. Let me see. 1 second.
This is not the information I seek, old man.
Well, hearing this, and while this is going on, Durant's roughhousing this, meek old man. Surely he's helpless, and Miser is trying to, give him lung cancer. I just kind of like slide between them, almost comically, like come up between, Durant's grip, and slowly turn. Say, you are trying to get information from this man, yes? I have a new tactic. It may not have occurred to you, but I say we ask him.
We tried that, Professor.
Disgustedly,
Man,
I'll let him go, and I'll walk towards the hut, towards the hut entrance or whatever,
Yeah.
and watch this to see what happens.
Okay.
I'm going to back away as well.
This is the image you see when you look into this guy's mind. You see creatures that look like this, and you also manage to find creatures or images of creatures that look like this. So you see these two in conflict.
Oh.
You see them fighting, and you see them chasing the old man. You see these ones chasing the old man, and you see him with a group of friends. Then you see him with less friends and less friends, and then you see him on his own, and then you just see him on his own for a long time.
Okay. So this man has been through many ordeals. I release him and I say, I'm sorry, here, have this as consolation. And I pull out my bowl of meat that I had got from the goat guys, and I offer it up to him as a gift of, just saying I'm sorry for prying into his brain and seeing such horrific things that he's experienced.
He looks at you nervously, like trying to figure out if this is a trick or something.
It's a trick.
Holding the bowl, and then he snatches it and just like scooping it all into his mouth as quickly as possible, like an animal.
So I back away slowly, and as I do, I'm saying to my three companions, like, this man has been through a lot. He's seen some terrible sights in here, beasts and creatures not of this world, or not human at least.
Yes.
I'm going to give descriptors of the two different beings that I saw in his memories.
I'm certain that your graceful interrogation helped ease his troubled mind, my sir. Almost positive.
I have my ways of doing things, Professor. The results. We got results.
So the man finishes slurping up the bowl, and he says, "Thank you."
You're welcome.
He says, "You not hurt me."
I told you that was not our meaning, or that was not our desire. We only seek information.
But things lie. Many things lie here. They say one thing and they do another.
What do they say?
Many things. They don't like snooping.
And what is it that they do upon the saying?
They chase me away, and they take my things, and they kill my friends and eat them.
Interesting.
Durant, looking in the hut, you actually see pages kind of spread about the place with like scribbled writings and stuff on them. And you see two ciphers in there too, two bits of technology that you kind of recognize to be Numenera items.
Well, I am wise enough to know not to just go poking around and snatch up any kind of Numenera without knowing what they are. So instead, I will actually examine some of the papers and see if I can read them at all.
Yeah, you can. I mean, they kind of vary in terms of legibility. Is that a word? How
Yeah.
legible they are, and how much sense they make. But the first one you pick up just says Ulak and Yara died yesterday. We walk and always end up in the same place. It's maddening.
Okay. All right. I will. Call the professor and tell him that there may be some items of note in the hut, and I'll walk over slowly and cautiously to the crazed priest, and I will ask him. What has happened to your companions? What of Ulak? Where is he?
Ulak dead. They ate him.
Did that medal not come with a pair of ear enhancements, Durant?
And what was the other name on the page?
Yara.
Yara? And I say, and what of Yara?
And you see like a tear in his eye, and wipes it away. Dead. They ate her.
Okay. All right.
The green man, or the other bestial form that I saw chasing you in your memories?
What? How did you see? What?
Ease, old man. It's okay. I'm trying to help you. I needed to see the cause of your pain and suffering to find a way to help.
No. The green men, they look in my mind and they pry my thoughts. No. And his hand goes to his rifle.
As he's getting agitated, I'm going to backhand him as soon as he starts moving towards. I'm going to totally backhand him across the face.
I will interpose myself between the backhand and
okay,
the
Professor.
So you get a backhand instead.
Now the professor gets tough now. You know.
I'm not opposed to slapping him up.
Don't scratch that monocle though.
Yeah.
Turn to I, sir.
We do know now that the green men, I guess, are able to read minds. So we did learn that, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Professor, go ahead. What are you doing here, Mr. Hero?
Well, I want to try to exercise a bit more tact. That's for sure.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'll put my hand on his shoulder, and talk to him, look him square in the eye, and just say, I see it. Life is a pile of good things and bad things. The good things don't always soften the bad things, but vice versa. The bad things don't always spoil the good things and make them unimportant. You've done a good thing surviving, and anything you can tell us pertaining to these creatures would be of the utmost importance in our mission that we have been given by the Great One to rain down judgment upon them. But we are great warriors from another dimension.
The old man his eyes kind of focus. The kind of chaos in his eyes goes away a little bit. Looks like he kind of understands where he is, and he's my diary. You can read the diary. And how do I get out of here? I've been here for so long. I just want to go home.
Well, I've been keeping track in my own notebook, so I'll take some scratch paper and draw down the map leading out, and tell him on your way. Tell the magnificent beard I said hello. You'll recognize him
by his magnificent beard. So before this guy leaves, I wanted to be able to try and decipher what these orbs and Numenera that he has on his person is. Because if it's anything specific to my endeavors, I will not be letting him leave.
Heartless man. So
I'm a man on a mission.
go ahead and do a Numenera check. And while you're doing that, Maximus, you hear a voice talk to you, coming from the gun, and it says, "Hey, hey, get me away from this guy. I've been here for 20 years. Get me away. I'm so bored."
This is what the gun is saying to Maximus?
Yeah.
Okay, so I get that specialization, so reduce that by 2 steps. And I roll a 9.
Yeah, so he's got some sort of the visor seems to let him see further than he can usually see, and lets him. It's almost like heat vision.
Oh, that's very good for someone that likes to who explores dark places.
Yes, it is.
Just saying.
And the orb seems to do nothing particular. The orb that orbits his head, it just seems to orbit him.
All right, so I'm gonna say, "Oh man, you're free to go, but leave your items."
Is that the same stuff that was in the hut?
No, this is in
No,
addition
it's
to
one
it.
of the things in the hut that he wasn't wearing.
Okay, all right, okay.
So I'm totally prepared to mess this guy up if he doesn't drop his gun and visor and orb.
He says, "This is all I have. I need to get home."
How about a trade, good sir?
Yes, indeed.
What do you want?
I'll give him a mask, almost a gas-looking mask. Say, how about this for the visor? You'll get full facial coverage, which is 50% better than just half. Surely you can see the wisdom in this.
He focuses for a second and he says, "What are the properties of this device?"
That's awesome. He's
then he
got
goes,
properties.
I just want to go home.
I would assume, from the looks of it, that you can fire lasers from the eyes. Notice the emerald lenses, obviously hinting at this fantastic property. And surely the part on the mouth that looks like it lets you breathe water probably does that.
He says,
I'm looking at the professor in amazement.
says, "I need to inspect it."
Of course.
He takes it, and looks at it, and holds it up to the light and everything, and well, I need my gun. I can't give you my gun.
Oh, your gun is requesting to leave your service and enter mine. So I'm taking your gun.
But how will I defend myself? And the gun is like, "Dude, get me out of here."
Your gun is no longer needed as you are leaving the labyrinth. So therefore, will not need it.
I'll give him my invisibility nodule, and let's see. It kind of looks like a device that you slide back behind one of your ears. And I'll tell him. I'll say all you need to do is to wish to be invisible to your or pass unseen, and it will be so. You have no need of that weapon.
Oh, well, okay. So he hands the gun to Maximus. "Take care of him." Go ahead.
Yes. Gun is now entering my service. It is no longer required by you. You may leave.
Sorry, Lloyd, what did you say the circular orb did?
It just seems to orbit his head. There doesn't seem to be an actual function for it.
Oh, okay. So Professor jumped in on my barter, did he? Jumped in on my swap?
Well, you were just going to take it.
Oh, I'm still going to take it.
At least he was going to lie to the old man, you know. You're
So,
going to take it.
as he finished his assessment of the do-all, be-all thing that the professor offered him, yeah?
Yeah, he's not keen, but he figures, you guys are probably going to murder him, so he kind of he takes off the visor and he puts on the gas mask. He hands it over to you.
All right, so if these guys are doing these trades and/or swaps, I'm going to go to the cache of the other two and do an assessment of those as well.
Sure.
Oh, I'll toss the visor to you since you wanted it.
No, that's all good. No,
The
you're
old
just
man-
trying to save this guy from certain murder. Well done, sir.
The old man says, "Thank you," and he just runs, bolts it like straight past you guys, and
Well,
then
he's got the map though, right?
right gets
Hopefully.
yeah, turns right, and that seems to be the way you came from. So,
Give Magnificent Beard my regard.
so
Nice.
in the tent, you do see a couple of little things. There's a belt and a patch. Looks like a nicotine patch.
All right, so I pull out my little black orb again, and I start, and the screen pops up, and I kind of put my hand out, and as I do an assessment, identify of this Numenera as well, to see if I
I'm
can
there.
discover its properties.
Sure.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, are we all in the hut, or is it just Meister who went in there?
No, I'm not in the hut. I'm outside still.
Okay.
It's just him.
So I rolled extremely well again.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you know what these things do. The belt is like you activate a button, and you think, judging by the circuits and stuff inside and the weird crystals and stuff, that it's actually like a time dilation situation. It'll make you move faster, and everything else moves slower. So it'll like increase your metabolism to the point where everyone else seems to be moving in slow motion. The patch though is hard to know what exactly it will do. But you think that it'll alter your mood when you put it on.
All right, so I know that
Give that to the old man.
I know the professor. Yeah, exactly. I know the professor is all about time manipulation because I've traveled with him before. We do have history, so I offer that up to him and say, "This is time Numenera. It can manipulate situations to benefit you. Here, take this." So it's a belt. As for the mood stabilizer, the Paxil, I just kind of leave. I just tell them what it is and tell them they can do with it what they will. I have no desire, no need of self-medication.
Looking through the diary entries, I mean, there's a bunch of them. There's actually about 10 of them, including the one that you read already, Durant. And they're all pretty short, but I don't know. You can read them at your leisure, I guess, if you decide to. So yeah, there you go. You've conned an old man out of his stuff. Poor old man.
I'll grab the diary pages if no one else minds, and then as we are traveling, since it's going to take a couple of days, I'll flip through them to see if there's anything that may aid us on our journey.
Okay. The more sensical ones, sensical? Not really a thing, is it? The ones that make more sense. Sensible, yeah. One of them says, "Was this place some kind of giant machine, some part of a machine? I've walked these walls for years, and it makes me think of the smallest part of some of the ancient computers we've seen. Interesting. How did it get here, and what was its purpose?" And then there's another entry saying, "The goat men have several outposts here. What they gain from this desolate place, I cannot say. Perhaps the walls make them feel safe. It's easy to imagine that being behind large walls makes you safe. It's also wrong." And then the final one that seems to make sense is a bit longer, and it says, "There are two types of creature that have set up towns. The green ones are mostly kind and well-spoken, but they seem to have taken to worshipping the three remaining books they have. They seem to worship the walls as holy too. The other kind of creature we've encountered are, well, we've called them apes. They were clearly tasked with guarding whatever was at the center, but they've forgotten what it was. Who can say if it's still there? They're not welcoming, and I had to flee their town for fear of being eaten." And then it kind of descends from there into more and more madness, similar things being said, but in a much more mental way, like, "Apes coming!" Exclamation mark, stuff like that.
Okay. As we go, I'll read these aloud so that the rest of the party can hear them and think what they may. But I guess the thing that stuck out to me was the fact that the book worship and also that they consider the maze itself to be holy in some kind of way.
Right.
So that may be important.
So, carrying on from here, you go back the way you came, and you're about to walk into the main alleyway, and there's a wall there now that was not there previously. So you were told by the goatman if you wanted to reach the green people, you needed to go continuing up that road.
And that's now closed off.
That is now closed off, and it opened up to the left and to the right.
Hmm. Appears we will have to go right.
Okay.
So we go to the north wall, or what we would have been going straight as per the goatman's instruction, and it's just solid. There's no secretive switches and or anything to manipulate in any way.
No marks of any kind. It looks like it's always been one solid object. It doesn't even look as if it's been moved or anything. Just looks like it's always been there, one continuous wall.
Perhaps.
Sorry, go ahead, Maximus.
Perhaps we need to go back to the goats. Perhaps they have some way of opening up this wall.
It is possible, I guess. I don't know.
There was no other path presented at all.
Yeah, basically the
right. So what was right when we went there and it disappeared and the left opened up? Now that we came from the left, the right is now reopened and the wall that would have been straight is closed. So there's always two paths, right?
So
it's actually a little bit different. So you were going up the big straight road, right, and you turned left to go look at this old man.
Mm-hmm.
And when you went to return, the wall that led to the main path has been closed off, and on the little turn you were on, two paths have opened up.
Oh, okay.
So you're not on the main path anymore. You can't get back there, seemingly.
all right.
So the old man was alluding to being lost in here. Things have just gotten a lot more complicated. Suggestions, Professor?
You say complicated. I prefer the term interesting. I say we move along and see what else can be seen in this magnificent place. It's an emporium of glorious discoveries. Surely there is no shortage of fantastical things, magnificent wonders to behold.
Now I have another question. This is all roofed, right? There's all ceilings throughout this place?
No, there's no ceilings. It's all open to the air.
But then I'm going to attempt to climb one of these walls to get a lay of the land and see if it is a maze or a labyrinth. I want to be able to see the interlocking paths and see if I can get some grasp of where we are.
The walls are 300 feet tall, though, so I mean it'll be a difficult climb. And
I do have climbing, and I am quite able-bodied for an old wispy-haired man. This is what I do. Okay, go for it. Does someone want to help me to get started?
How? What do we want us to do?
You want to give me a little boost to get some forward momentum? Durant, you're made of metal. I can stand up.
Yeah, I'm afraid I won't be able to assist you, Miser. I suffer from selective muscular dystrophy.
Yeah.
Currently,
I thought it was
flaring up.
muscular. All right, I'll take a knee and kind of give him the double hand. And
surely that's not going to lower the. That's not going to lower it.
No, I don't know. It's a boost, not a.
Oh, good. I'll use you as a little stepping stool to get.
Actually, you know what? Here, I will. Well, can I? How does it work, Lloyd? Can I give him a one of my Numenera?
You're almost there.
Yeah. Well, he can only hold a certain amount.
That will push me over the limit. Yeah.
Will it?
So you'd have to swap, I guess, because otherwise they start interfering with each other, and I'll have to roll a very interesting dice.
I tell him here, take this. It's a bar that looks like white chocolate that's wrapped in this cellophane type paper.
Okay.
Actually, it's a square. Yeah, it's a big square.
So
and I
this,
say, "Here, eat this, and this will aid you in your task."
Of course, you cannot climb on an empty stomach.
And before I do that, let me make sure that I know what I'm talking about here, but I think I do.
He just explodes.
All right, this is.
Snap my fingers.
You know what?
You're gonna roll a dice, right?
Yeah, it's a skill boost.
Mhm.
But it's I guess it's random. I don't know.
It's random, yeah. So.
Yeah. So I tell him that, hey, this could help. I'm not lying.
all right. So I'll trust in you, Durant. I'm going to take your little climbing Tootsie Roll, and I'm going to hand you, in return, a little node. It's like a
Okay.
little badge type thing that attaches to your clothing.
Okay.
And what it does, it's a retaliation node. So anyone that hits you as a retaliation, they take like a small shock damage. So they take one damage when anyone hits you.
Okay. All right.
So go
All
ahead
right.
and roll a percentile then, Troy, and see if you get lucky.
Percentile. Okay.
69 or better.
Yeah.
Come on, do it.
There's nothing better than 69. Oh, three.
You've gone.
Oh well.
So you're good at fighting up close for a little while.
Which you'll probably need so you can kick my butt after you.
All right, so I swallow back this little cellophane wrapped chocolate.
Yeah,
and I
you
start
think you're really
climbing.
good at climbing.
Exactly. I start climbing with the mentality that I'm going to make it.
Yeah, it's psychological, man.
Placebo effect.
So I do have climbing, but even with that, dropping it one step, is it even plausible that I can roll on a D20?
It is. It would be very difficult though. You'll need like an 18.
I'll go for it. I'm confident. I've climbed many things, and now I have this this pill. So. Oh, I did not go well.
No, that's the wrong way.
You get like 10, like it's a totally flat surface, which is the issue, you know. But you've got a couple of vines and stuff that you're climbing up and roots, and you get about 10 feet up, and the root just like snaps and you fall back down to the ground.
Okay, so you see me thud on my back, and as I do, all the wispy, black, smoky shadows that were around me dissipate, and you just see this old man in his little robe, not looking quite as intimidating as he once did. I was like, Durant, you fool, what did you do?
I'll have you know I was cheering for you. You're quite nearly there.
Yeah, you're only like 290 feet away from the top, so.
Yeah, at least I fell early in the process, so that's
right.
So,
all right, so that plan is voided.
So where do you want to go, guys? Left or right? Basically, are your options. And
Left.
you know that right would be back towards the entrance, that direction anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
Well, if that's the case,
You think?
certainly I would go left.
Okay. So carrying on left, the corridor, I'll call it, goes on for what can only be described as a silly amount of time. You just walk and walk and walk, and it's kind of featureless and very boring. There's trees and stuff every now and then, like, or attempts at trees anyway. You do at one stage see a fully sized tree has broken through the stone at the bottom, but other than that, it's mostly just rock, dirt, and then the huge metal walls on either side. And you continue to walk for what has to be 8 or 9 hours, with just nothing, no turns or anything on the way. And then up ahead, you see a crossroads. Finally, after 8 hours of just monotonous, boring walking. And at this crossroads, there's this machine, and it's just walking by. I'll show you what it looks like. So it's just walking past the crossroads. It's pretty big. It's about 20 feet tall.
I'll start trying to communicate with it.
It turns in your direction. You are dirtying the internal structure of the processing chip.
Oh, apologies. Which way can we move to proceed to the center processing chip?
Organic life forms are not allowed in the center processing chip.
Override Protocol 218. We are allowed.
That's so good.
Nice.
It's so good I'm going to let it happen. That's great. Goes. You may continue to the right.
Thank you.
Have a pleasant day.
And you as well. And I'll talk to them. The machine said that we may proceed to the right.
That's great.
Yeah.
The thing continues walking to the left and just continues on down the path.
Well done, Maximus.
Very nice. Very nice.
So do you want to go right then? You're at a crossroads, so you can go left, straight, or right.
Yes, let's go right. That's
that's
control process.
Yeah.
Okay. Not long after, you see sort of barricade built up, and you see 3 of these green men standing there at the barricade. I'll show you a picture again. So these guys standing behind a barricade made again of logs, stuff like that. And they're kind of just like, they've got their middle arms crossed and their bigger arms at their sides. And they're just kind of, you see them like nodding to each other and stuff, talking.
So looking at their feet, do I put the 2 and 2 together? This was the 3-toed footprints I had seen earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So they have free reign of the entire labyrinth, not this just region. They're all over the place.
Seems like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I approach.
Mm-hmm. Announce yourself. Who goes there?
Goes there. It's me, good sir. Were you expecting someone else?
We weren't expecting anyone.
Well, sometimes the universe just has wonderful surprises in store, does it not?
There are no surprises. All things are predetermined.
Oh, you couldn't be more wrong. Did you know I was coming?
I did not know, but the elder may.
Well, why don't we ask the elder and find out if all things are in fact predetermined? That'll settle this age-old argument once and for all. Let us be off.
You feel a sort of, the hairs in your arm stand up for a second, and you feel as if they're like scanning you with their minds.
Yeah.
And they say, you seem to be formidable. Perhaps you could be useful. Yes, come speak to the elder.
Absolutely.
Was that a compliment or or what?
So do you guys want to go?
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you're brought into, so basically they have a crossroads to themselves, and kind of leading from each of the roads there are like buildings, well, small buildings, like tents and stuff, and even things on stilts, like little tiny buildings. And as you're walking towards this, what is the biggest tent, you see out in the street, I guess you would call it, one of them standing on a raised platform, and he's giving a speech to the others. And you hear him say, there are 2 young fish swimming along, and they happen to meet an older fish swimming the other way, who nods at them and says, "Good morning, boys. How's the water?" And the 2 young fish swim on for a bit, and eventually one of them looks over the other and goes, and the audience, they all say, "What the hell is water?" as if it's a prayer. He continues, "If you ever get cold, stand in a corner," and the audience says, "They're usually 90 degrees. And then one final time he says,
Compute.
"Why was the skeleton unable to go to the dance?" And they all say, "He had nobody to go with."
Wise words.
Horrible. That angers me for some reason.
So yeah, he's kind of preaching, and it's like clearly a call and response type thing. And you walk past that, and you're brought before this elder. He looks exactly like the rest of them. They all look the same. Some of them are bigger and smaller, but they all look pretty much exactly the same. And he says, "Well, welcome. I knew you would come."
Did you now?
Of course. All things are predetermined.
I find that to be highly unlikely.
I knew you would say that.
Did you now? I knew you'd say that. You would say you knew I'd say that.
He says, "You seem formidable. We have a problem."
I assure you I'm quite meager. You see, I suffer from selective muscular dystrophy. I may or may not be of service to you.
I believe you are attempting levity. Very good. And he said, "There are creatures further into the labyrinth. They were once guardians, we think. But now, they commit vile heresies. They carve into the wall, and they live inside the walls. This cannot be allowed.
Why?
The walls are our whole world. Let me quote to you from the great book of yokai.
Please.
There are two fish." He tells you the fish story again. And he says, "What the hell is water?" It's a metaphor, you see, for not realizing what's around you.
No, you see, water consists of a carbon atom and a hydrogen atom. It is the staff of life. Did you know humans are made mostly out of water?
Yes.
Of course you did, for you know all things, do you not? Because the
Yes.
universe is predetermined.
Indeed
Surely
so.
you know I would present you with this conundrum.
Well, what I need from you is I need you to deal with these people. People is a generous term.
The apes?
Yes. They are brutish, and they destroy the walls, and the walls are deeply important, very holy to us. They cannot be allowed. The walls are here for a very, very good reason.
What reason is that?
And he looks kind of nervous for a second. They are holy. The texts say so.
I believe there may be a chink in your irrefutable logic that you claim to have.
3 books proclaim the walls as holy. And he opens his arms wide. To deny that is heresy.
Well, might that I not remain ignorant to these holy texts, that you would allow me to read them, that I may
Read them?
better understand your ways.
No outsiders may see the books.
Outsiders? I've lived here my whole life. What do you mean, outsiders?
This is not the truth. I know you are lying to me. You will not see the books. I know that you are now stuck in this maze. This is the nature of this maze. Once you enter, you cannot leave. But we know the ways. We know how to escape.
But did you not just say once you enter, we cannot leave?
You will not be able to find the way, but we know.
Why cannot your books tell you how to get rid of the apes?
The books are not about combat. They are about transcendence and a higher way of life.
So are you saying that we are not worthy of transcendence?
Yes.
Okay.
That does not compute. Try again.
Well, what do our odds look like fighting, or pitting ourselves against these beasts that you've handled? Since all things are predetermined, surely you can tell us the outcome.
You will be successful.
I've heard that before. They
And
weren't.
what is your what do you offer to us to do this task?
A means of escape.
I don't know. I quite like it here.
We are unable to fight these apes. For some reason, they cannot harm us and we cannot harm them. But they have lost their way. They call themselves the Guardians, but they don't know what they guard. We need them to stop destroying the walls. The walls are very important. We will show you the way out, so you may continue on your journey. I know that you wish to pass through. It will not be possible without our help.
Well, what do you guys think?
If we deal with these apes, will we then be worthy of transcendence?
Rare for a human to wish such a thing. Usually your needs are so self-serving. I could consider it. If that was your wish, it would mean you would not leave this labyrinth ever again, but you would potentially join us here. And you've seen or you've noticed that he's not speaking. He has no mouth. It's all in telepathy.
Franklin, what do you know of these things?
We are not called Franklin.
Why not? It's a good name. A strong name. Many great Franklins have lived throughout history, and they are remembered.
We know not much about these creatures, but they are powerful psionics. That is clear. They share some sort of hive mind.
If they are such powerful psionics, why don't they simply go deal with the problem themselves? I think
They already told you why. Do you not listen?
they're just being lazy.
Leave the thinking to us.
You know I can evict you.
It would be difficult.
Just remember that. Don't think I won't.
So the guy says, will you do as I ask? You must, it pains me to say so, but you must kill their leader. He is the
Kill their
source.
leader.
He is the source of their madness. We can read his thoughts from here. They scream with rage.
Surely such wise and all-knowing beings as yourself know that the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. No killing is necessary.
Well, if you can subdue him and take him out of the picture, that's even better. We do not wish any harm to any creature. We just wish them to stop destroying the walls.
Well, Professor, maybe it may be of some interest to communicate with these apes and get their side of the story.
I concur.
Their side of the story. Do not listen to them. They are insane.
Oh, of course, absolutely. Why would we do such silly things? Totally talking to the apes, Durant.
I can hear you.
I asked the green man, what are they, the Watchers?
Yeah.
Why it seems as though the maze itself is alive. How is it that the walls can change position and move?
Yes. Interesting that. Well, we've been here for a long time. Longer than I remember. Longer than any of us remember. And, well, it's a little embarrassing, but we don't know what we're supposed to be watching.
Is it not written down in your book?
We only have 3 books. The Great Book of Yoke. We have a book detailing about the walls and how they are sacred and must not be destroyed. And we have a book on how to hone our minds.
And you've read these texts, have you not?
They are sacred.
So you
We
have
know-
not read them?
We have read them many times. We recite them in prayer.
I see.
So, you lost the fourth book?
We had many more, but they have been taken away or lost throughout the eons that we have been here.
Hmm.
Yes.
I
I do know that when we first arrived, many, many, many hundreds of thousands of years ago, the maze was already here.
happen to be in possession of a sacred text of my own.
Really?
Yes. Yes, I do.
What is
I'll
it?
tell you what. What is it? I'll tell you what. You show me yours, and I'll show you mine.
How can we know that your text is truly sacred? What does it detail? What are its teachings?
Many great things.
You speak vague nonsense. I require a concrete answer if you're to see the text.
I'll pull out a book. It's a book on nanotechnology, and kind of just wave it around.
Such disrespect! Be careful!
Disrespect.
You may damage it! And as you draw it out, you hear like a whoo from a bunch of the guys standing around.
Behold! One of the missing documents of legend.
Uh-oh.
How did you get this?
I
In the maze?
Oh no, I've been many places and have acquired many things. I happen to know where a great many more sacred texts lie, and I'd be willing to share this information with you. Would only that you let me peer at the three that I have not yet had the pleasure to lay eyes on. This one will be yours. I wish not to take them, only to further expand my knowledge on the great teachings.
Give us time to look at your book, your sacred texts, and we will let you look at ours.
Alright. Where are the other documents at that I may look on them while you peer at mine?
Well, it's a
Surely it is only fair.
Well, we know that our books are sacred. Yours might just be the insane ramblings of a madman. We must determine if they're worthy.
You'll find many great things in here, and I'll give him the book on nanotechnology.
Okay. So he takes it in one of his hands, and then he lets it go, and it floats up in the air and starts leafing through the pages in front of him. And a couple of the guys kind of lean forward and lean over his shoulder, and they're reading it too.
Quite
And
the
then just
page turner.
and they read through it in a matter of seconds. Interesting.
Impressive.
Nanotechnology. This explains much. This nanotechnology seems a lot like the wall itself. You have brought us a great gift.
Indeed.
This does seem to be a sacred tome.
I knew that you were looking for it.
Of course you did. All things are predetermined.
Of course they are.
And he waves two of his two right arms and clicks his fingers, and out come these guys in these really dramatic robes with the books. And one of them is indeed it's a book, and it seems to be a book about masonry and how you could build a defensible wall. The other says Book of Joke on the front with the S scribbled out. This is the Book of Yoke, obviously.
Right.
The third is, what was the third one? I've forgotten. A book about
The mental.
yeah, it's about psionics, how you are able to hone your mind and focus and gain these abilities.
I'm more interested in that book. Well,
Book of
I'll read
Yokai.
all. Yeah, honestly, like, I mean, I let him read my book, so I'll read all of them. I'll read his books.
So the book of jokes is literally just a book of jokes. You know, it's like what's black and white needs like a horse, a zebra. You know, and it's just like joke after joke after joke, really really
Right.
crappy jokes.
Okay.
But as you saw in the walk-in, they revere these jokes. Like somebody says the setup and then they chant the punchline
Yeah.
as if it's a ritual.
Scripture.
Yeah. The book on masonry is literally about how to build like defensible positions. It's definitely old, really really old. Back in the time when they would build walls to defend themselves. And the paper is crumbly and you know you have to be very careful turning the pages, and they make sure that you are very careful turning the pages. They do it with their mind when you're ready. They don't want you to actually touch it. And then the book about psionics is like a really detailed manual on how to focus your mind, how to meditate, how to kind of get the very basics of psionics going. But since you're all nanos, you have a vague understanding of how this works, whether it's, you know, you mightn't be psionic yourself, but it's a similar sort of process to use the powers that you have.
Okay. Can I actually learn anything worthwhile from any of these books?
You could learn a few jokes.
Okay.
But
That's worthwhile.
in terms of psionics and stuff, like you'd have to study it for like a long time to get anything from it.
Okay.
You know, there's like techniques on how to like do advanced meditations and how to like center your mind, how to empty your mind, things like that. But it would be like a rigorous training process.
Right. I'm definitely interested in this book of psionics.
He says,
What say you that if you don't mind, I happen to have a book of my own, you know, of my own meandering thoughts, but surely the pages could be enlightened with the greatness in this here tome of the mind. I'd like to copy it down so that I may always have a reference when in times of trouble, that the great one may bestow knowledge upon me. And I'll give you this book of nanotechnology too. You can just have it.
Ooh, it's a very tempting deal.
But
However,
wait, there's more. I pull from my pouch, which seems to hold a lot more than it should be able to, elbow deep in this little coin pouch, and produce an ancient scroll, and I present it to him. Not even I know what wisdom lies in this text, but I will bequeath it to you for a copy of this one.
You bring much. And it would definitely please us to have another thing to read. A way to improve our teachings. Very well. I will allow you to copy the manual of how to train your mind. But you must take care of these apes.
And they will be dealt with
Good.
in a most pleasant manner, preferably non-violent if we can.
You must rip out the black heart. Mechanical black heart.
That doesn't sound not violent.
That's. I understand this metaphor that you speak of. So yeah, I'll copy that.
You are wiser than you look.
I'll copy that book down then, and then I will erase those other two from my inventory.
Sure. And they say,
Right.
or he says, to get to them, you must pass through our camp. We are the the outer guardians, the Watchers they called us. We don't know why. But to pass through, we will allow you to, and then you'll be in the inner maze. Do be careful, there are other guardians, mechanical ones, that roam the halls. They do not like organic life dirtying their maze.
All right. I don't know if the other two metal men heard any of this conversation that was going on. Durant.
Yeah. It was broadcast to all of you from this guy's mind.
Okay. All right then. So yeah, I'll just nod my head in agreement and ask if they're ready. But before I leave, I turn to the crowd and I say, "What is black and white and red all over?"
And they say, "A newspaper."
Well done.
Okay, so they lead you through the camp to the edge, and they show you a way into the inner maze. And as you walk, it becomes increasingly less and less naturey, so way less grass and stuff like that. It looks like it's much cleaner. The ground is actually flat stone, with no, it's not cracked or anything like it was on the outside. And even the walls are much cleaner. And you make your way through. You have to take quite a few turns, in that you're walking and then suddenly it's just a bloop, and the wall appears in front of you. But you make pretty good time. Eventually you see a crossroads once again. And at this crossroads there is one of these mechanical things.
Same ones like we saw before? Or
Slightly different. It's actually golden in color. It doesn't have the tentacles that the other one had.
oh wow. Okay.
And it's pacing around, and it's just going around the crossroads in a circle.
What seems to be the error in your programming? I see that you are going in circles.
I must patrol this area, this crossroads.
You are doing a good job of patrolling. Continue.
Thank you.
I'm going to attempt to pass by it.
So as you approach, it says, "You cannot pass. I am on patrol."
Override 316. Yes, I may pass.
Error. That is
I
not a real override.
I do believe you are on lunch break.
It says, "You are dirtying the ground with the mud on your boots." And it takes out this hose and just sprays water to clean the tracks you've left.
Robot, you said there is an error in this override protocol.
Correct.
Obviously, there is an error in your programming. Stand by. And I'm going to send my nanites over to try and find some type of crevice or something to get in there and to try and work on manipulating
Nice.
it.
Get him.
Okay, I'm just going to make you do a roll to interact with a machine. So you can do that, but you're trained at it, so it'll be pretty easy for you. You need to get a 9 or higher on an unmodified D20.
Okay.
Kinda slap him on the back. Ha! Brilliant.
Let's see here. Roll.
Oh, wow, nice.
Oh,
Fucking
dang.
robot.
So not only do you override it, it actually says, "How can I serve you?"
So much win.
You may serve me by allowing me to addendum this coding to your programming. And I'm going to put in the override code in there, making a mental note of that. And I'm going to also put in a coding in there to... actually, would you be willing to escort us to the Central Processing Center?
Sweet. I was wondering if you were going to do that.
Of course. As you
My
command.
my muscular dystrophy's flaring up again. Surely you wouldn't mind if I rode atop this
I knew it. I knew it.
menagerie. I'm getting on it.
Yeah, you can climb up it and stuff. It doesn't stop you. It says,
Yeah, I'm gonna snap my fingers, and with a puff of smoke, a chair materializes, and I sit down.
Nice. Then
so,
take us to the Central Processing Unit, please.
affirmative. This thing's pretty big. It's bigger than the other one. It's only 30 feet tall, right? It's huge. And it just like continues walking on, unerringly turning when it needs to, not making any sort of like, doesn't stop and think. It's just like, yep, this is the way. And you're able to make excellent time. And then you approach not long afterwards. You see a barrier and some of these ape men standing there. So just to show you again. No, I said they're not apes. They definitely look biomechanical. They don't seem to have eyes of any kind, and they've got this face seemingly just made of bone. And you can see already that in the walls they've carved little rooms, so they've like cut or pulled away the metal, and they're living in the walls.
Almost like
Machine.
hive-like almost, or caves or something, or...
Yeah, it looks like they've just like caves. So they just like pulled them all out and they've moved in there. And there's a couple of them, and they're pretty big, sizable holes in these walls. The machine just freaks out. Unacceptable.
Stand by, machine, while I interface with these other beings. Hello, beings. Apes. Whatever you are. What is your purpose?
We guard.
You guard. You are doing a lousy job guarding this facility.
What? How dare you?
How dare I? You are destroying the machine. You are supposed to be guarding the machine.
Are they mental as well, Lloyd, or no?
They're speaking with
Oh.
Ned.
Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm. They say, nothing gets past us. We guard.
You guard, but yet you mar the machine. The machine has holes in its walls. Why is this?
We know not of this machine you speak of. We guard the creature at the center.
That is the machine. You are not guarding the machine properly.
What? You speak no sense.
Of course, you do not understand. Please, summon your leader. We must speak to him.
Yeah. Well, and you see them like looking at each other, and they're like, "Wow, what the hell is going on?" I don't know.
Surely I cannot pass up this opportunity. And the professor stands up tall astride this robot and looks down at them and gestures and says, "Take me to your leader."
They say, "Very well, but the robot stays here."
Of course. Durant, you must wait here.
I kind of give him the look, and shake my head.
The robot itself is kind of freaking. There's a lot of whirring going on, and it like as it's standing there, it's on standby, but you just hear like and like a rack of missiles come out of the side of it. It just says, "These creatures are destroying the machine. They must be cleansed."
Whoa!
Stand by, machine.
Standing by.
We will interface with these beings and try to rectify the situation. Stand by.
Standing by. Affirmative.
Oh,
So-
Maximus, how long can you control it? Do you think? Still?
he changed his programming. I mean,
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he nailed it. Like the
Okay.
thing, gotta listen to him.
Okay. All right.
It's obviously annoyed at the situation, but it's AI as much as it's got an AI. He's programmed to do what he says. Yeah, so
Okay.
it'll do that.
Cool. All right. Okay. All right. So we're off to see Mr. Wizard, I think, or hopefully.
So yeah, you're brought in among them, and you can see like there's quite a few of them, but there's less than there were of the green dudes, and they all kind of there's like guards at the front where you entered, and then there's like another guard post about 30 feet back from that, and then it's all highly you get to that point and they say, "Yeah, who are you?" and you have to do the whole spiel again, and then you get inside and it's like, similarly it's a crossroads, and they've got holes cut into the walls and stuff, and every time you get somewhere, like you turn a corner, there's like a, "Hey, who are you?" and you have to just constantly explain to these people what you're doing. They're guarding every single section, and eventually they bring you to at the ground level quite a big hole cut into the rock, and you enter in, and there's some glow globes and stuff set into the walls, but as you enter, "Hey, who are you? How are you here? Why are you? How did you get past all the guards?" And you have to explain to them again. Like, "Okay, very well. Come speak to the leader." The leader looks like the rest, a little bit bigger, and he says, "Well, you seem to have gotten past all the guards. It's highly irregular. What are you here for?"
There's obviously, you guys are misunderstanding what you're supposed to be guarding. You're supposed to be guarding the central processing unit, and there's all these holes in the walls. It is disheartening. You are marring the machine. This has to be rectified.
We guard the passage to the center so that none may see the creature.
By you putting holes in the walls, you are damaging the creature.
That makes no sense. The creature is at the center of the maze.
Are you sure the creature is even alive still? It is pretty damaged. Haven't you heard of all its wailings?
No, we have not seen the creature in, well, it must be going on about 300,000 years, but I mean, it was there then, and we were here to guard it.
Then we must make sure that it is still alive. We have been hearing its wailings. Make sure that you're doing your job correctly.
None may interact with the creature. That is why we're here, to ensure that no one gets to the center.
But if no one is able to interact with the creature, how do you know it's still there?
That is not our purpose. Our purpose is to guard the creature, to make sure no one gets to speak to it,
But
including us.
If the creature is not there to be guarded, then what purpose do you serve?
We guard the approach to the creature.
Professor, you're going to make this rougher than it has to be.
So you see, like, you can feel this absolute certainty coming from this thing that it knows that it's here to guard the approach to this creature.
Getting agitated.
And it's just like, well, how do you not get this? I'm guarding the creature. That's what we do here. We guard the creature, and it's just like, why? How does this not make sense to you? It's like their whole life clearly is just like protecting this tiny little crossroads.
Obviously, you have not seen the machines that roam the rest of the machine to ensure that all the guardians and watchers are doing their job. It is standing by outside your guard post, ready to eradicate you guys, because you're not doing your job. We must see the creature in the center to ensure that it is still alive. If not, this machine will eradicate you and all of your life forms here.
Threats? We will guard in the face of anything. We will protect and ensure that no one sees the creature.
In letting the creature go unnoticed, perhaps unfed, in turn dying, are you not failing at your duty to protect?
The creature is eternal and everlasting. It does not need to be fed. It is protected by us.
How do you know that it's everlasting if you have not seen it, man?
That is what our ancestors said, and their ancestors said.
Where are your ancestors now, 300,000 years later, might I ask?
It has always been thus. We protect this approach. There are many such approaches, and everywhere you will find us. Protecting, ensuring that nothing gets through to speak to the creature.
I don't question your loyalty to this creature. You've done an admirable job protecting it. 300,000 years is a long time to stand around. However, if you do not trust us, send a contingent of guards with us to make sure we do it no harm. We simply wish to check in and make sure that it is still here.
None can speak to the creature, not even we.
We will not speak. We will simply observe.
It cannot be allowed. None may pass. However, I have a proposition for you.
I wonder.
The hideous green men.
Professor, something is attached to your body.
It's friendly.
Yeah,
It's friendly.
Monster.
He says, I have a proposition. The hideous green men on the way here. They corrupt the ancient texts, and they allow things to pass through, and that they are failing in their duty. We need you to get rid of them. Bring me the heart of their leader. And we will show you a way out of this maze.
I look at these two like, you gotta be shitting me. Really?
Has the idea of a truce ever occurred to you? That's where two people decide it's best to get along for the benefit of the greater good.
We have not spoken to them in eons, thousands of years.
There's your problem.
We fight, but we cannot harm each other. We avoid each other at all costs.
See, now this is why we need to see the center processing unit. And that way he can remind you of what you're supposed to be guarding and remind the other peoples of who they're supposed to be watching for. Because obviously you guys have forgot things of what your mission is.
No.
He kind of like looks to the other dudes around him. We guard. Always we guard for eternity. That is our primary objective.
Of course.
None may pass. We may not pass. The Watchers may not pass, and you may not pass.
So why is it that your people carve holes into the walls, hurting the creature in the center, damaging its life force?
The creature in the center is not a wall. It's a creature, a powerful creature, and it's big, scary. The walls are a safe place to sleep.
How would you know if you have not seen the creature?
Well, if we have to guard it, it must be scary and big.
Not so. Please, Durant, enlighten this being.
You spoke of some sacred texts. What are these?
Yes, the Watchers took some of them away. Once we had them all, and we would share. No longer, not for many millennia. They
Behold! As I produce my copy of the psionics book.
Uh-huh.
What?
Does-
How? How can this be? Have you taken care of the Green Men? Have you destroyed the Watchers?
No.
I
you
elbow
see,
him. Tell him what he wants to hear.
Once more, to enlighten him, I rephrase, the quote earlier. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. No acts of violence, no heavy hands, no sharp blades were used in procuring this text. Simply words. Things that you yourself said that you have not used in hundreds of years. Though this thought may be lost on you, let me remind you, there's nothing more powerful than a sharply worded phrase.
Perhaps that is so. Can I see the book?
Can I see the creature that you allegedly guard? I'll show you yours. Or I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
None may see the creature.
Blindfold me then.
I will. Maybe you speak sense. You come with an ancient text. How you got it, I do not know, but it is an omen of some kind. And a couple of the guys around him say, omen. He says, we will go to the center with you. But you must give us this book.
Of course. I'll tell you where a great many more texts are at as well in exchange for a peace offering.
In the
In
labyrinth?
fact, no.
We cannot leave.
Well, are you chained to this place?
We cannot leave. We must guard.
There are a great many of you. Surely one or two will be able to go out on a holy expedition to acquire these tombs that you so want. It's a big world out there.
It's a big world in here.
Not so big as you may think, my friend.
Come then. We will journey to the center.
All right, I give him the copied manual that I have.
He reaches up one of his weird hands, and you see it's not a hand, but then it forms into one. It's like his skin kind of just like changes as if it's liquid into a hand. He takes it and he kind of like, although he has no eyes, so you can't really see it. he looks at it and he kind of passes it around, and they're all like, "Oh, wow!" And they say, "Come then, we will go." And he starts walking on his knuckles, I guess, with some of the other ones, and they go through their camp onwards. The robot, as you're walking out, says, "Orders."
Orders. Stand by. Still interfacing with other species. Stand by.
Affirmative. Stand by. But you see that in your absence, it's opened another rack of missiles and like a large machine gun on its head. And it's like just training them on the front row of the guards, and they're just like looking at it like,
So tempting.
They bring you, again, unerringly, like through the maze. There's no kind of hesitation where they're going. And towards the center, it's once again overgrown, more so than anywhere else. There are like proper trees and stuff like coming, kind of growing next to the wall, and some of them even out of the wall and stuff like that. and the ground slowly becomes grass as you walk very slowly. You know, initially it's cracked stones, then it's dirt, and then it's grass. And they bring you to basically a wall. It's just a flat wall, but it's not as high as the others. It's just about as tall as you are, which seems strange. And it's totally, you can see that it's circular, and it goes around. And inside this wall, you can see this guy standing there. And I mean, I say guy. He doesn't really look like a normal human. He looks a little bit like this. And he's standing there, chained to the ground. So his arms are in chains, his feet are in chains, his neck, a large chain holds him to the ground. And that has come with you, like, the creature. Yeah. He bows, and this guy in the middle just says, "You have come.
Hello.
You have come. Very good. It's as I planned."
Go on.
His chains don't fall free, do they?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay.
He says, "I have a proposition for you."
That seems to be all the rage today.
"I have been chained here for time immemorial. Eons ago, I was brought here and chained here. All I wish is to be free. I'm not of this world, not of this dimension. I wish to go home. Simply that.
That doesn't
Yet
seem
these-
so unreasonable.
Yet these creatures with their presence keep me here. I require their hearts. Require a green heart and a black heart, and I can go home. In return, I will show you the way out of this maze, and I will bestow upon you riches beyond your imagination. I'll bestow upon you great power."
So, why is it that you were imprisoned here?
"That is of no consequence. Your tiny mind could not understand.
I'll have you know that my tiny mind is unchained and free to go.
He trains his eye on you, and he just says, "Silence, fall," and you do, just, and you like wake up. "Do not trifle with me, mortal.
I was going
Require
to lay
only-
down.
I require only to be free. I tire of this boring, insignificant world like a tasteless meal."
You know what? I'll kind of wiggle my finger. Why do you require their hearts to leave? What necessity is that to you going away?
"Their presence binds my chains. Eons ago, ignorant, pathetic aliens once lived on this planet, and they bound me here so I could create things for them. Like a genie in a bottle, they kept me here for eternity. And then they faded away, and they left me here with these idiots who have no idea what they do."
You know, one of the things I find most amusing is that you constantly refer to these beings as ignorant and idiots and beneath you. Yet it is they who chained you and not the other way around. Peculiar circumstance, is it not?
"I was brought here eons ago by creatures much more powerful than these that guard me, but their presence keeps me here, an ancient ritual."
You see, I'm just hearing excuses.
"Silence!" booms. Give me an intellect defense roll.
Alright. Crap, how does that work again?
So you need
I got
to.
an edge of 1 in my...
Okay, so if you want to reduce it, then you can pay 2 points of intellect, but your target's an 18, so you probably will want to reduce it.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll reduce it a step.
So it'll be a 15 you need then.
Yeah, that's good. Suck it.
Nice.
Right.
Okay. So this thing attempts to bombard your brain, and you kind of feel a force just like. And you see the grass underneath you just like it's pressed flat as this force hits you, but you stand as if in the wind, leaning forward, and you're not knocked back.
Mhm.
It's impossible.
I just kind of wave it aside as if it, was a little more than a small gust of wind. And I look him dead in the eyes. I say, I tried to talk. I want you to remember that. I tried to reach out, tried to understand you. I think you understand what we're saying perfectly. And I think you just don't care. And I don't know what it is that is going on up there in your head.
You couldn't possibly imagine what goes on inside my head. Your tiny little brain could not possibly.
I don't suppose it really matters now. You, sir, are a monster. And this is the role you seem determined to play. So it seems that I must play mine. See, the way I
can bestow upon you great power. You, Durant, I can heal your metal. You, Maximus, I can bring upon you such machines, such power that you will never, ever have to do anything again. All machines will bow to your will, and you, the Professor, you will travel through time as if it's nothing.
Oh, you like to think you're a god?
I am beyond what you consider a god.
You are not a god. You are just a parasite eaten out with jealousy and envy, longing for the lives of others. You feed on them, on the memory of love and loss, and the birth of death and joy and sorrow. Yet you remain shackled. I think you need to be extinguished.
Yes, extinguish me, destroy me.
No, I think you should just suffer.
None of these beings seem to be very worthy of mercy. All of them want death and murder to get their gains. So what difference does it make whether we kill one or the other?
You see, that's exactly what this creature here wants.
The green men want us to kill the apes want us to kill the green man, and this being wants us to kill all of them. Who's better? Who's worse?
That's not really for us to decide, Durant.
Think of what I can bestow upon you. You will not see me again. I will simply vanish to my home dimension. You will have no problem from me, and I will bestow upon you great gifts, if only you will free me.
I think watching you squirm and try to weasel around with sweet words is gift enough. Watching such a supreme godlike being stand here shackled, unable to do anything about it, is all the amusement and pleasure that I need. You're not worth my time.
He chuckles. He looks at the ape leader, and with a gesture of his head, the ape leader up into the air, crunched into a small cube, and a heart extracted, flings down to where he is, and his right arm is freed. All I need now is the heart of the green man. Bring him to me and I will be free.
Nah.
I will cure you, Durant, of your illness. I will bestow upon you such power. You will be the greatest mystical man of all time.
Actually, I will do this for you, mister. But in order for me to get the green monster's heart, or to bring him to you to do that, I'll need that heart to give to him, and then I can bring the green leader to you. Then you'll have both hearts. But I need that heart in order to do it.
Nice.
You try to trick me with your pathetic human attempts at trickery.
I think you should just have Fernando. That's what I named the robot, by the way. Come in here and just blow him to hell.
Yeah. That's a possibility. I'm tempted to do that.
How am I to know if I give you this heart that you will return? I'm to trust you.
Trust. You're trusting me, and I'm trusting you to honor your word and reward us when we get back.
No.
Really, it's the only option you have.
The heart kind of floats up in the air in front of him.
No. No.
Do you want to be free of your curse, Durant? Is that what you wish?
I have no desire to be played like a harp by any power, whether it's my conscience or whether it's you. I say my companion has made an offer. You should take it.
What's Franklin know of this guy?
Franklin has been
Franklin,
very quiet.
speak to me.
He just says, "Careful. This is a creature beyond your understanding."
Is he apt to keep his word, Franklin?
He says, "We do not know. All we know is that if he is free, gravity and matter and physics will be playthings to him."
Right.
He is from a different dimension and he has abilities beyond even our understanding.
Just think, companions, all the glory that he will bestow on us if we do this.
Just think of all the havoc he could wreak should he be set free. Clearly, he was bound here for a reason.
Is the heart still there?
Yeah, it's floating in the air.
I'll hold out my hand as if to accept it.
Okay. It floats down towards you, and as it goes over the wall, his chain whooshing, reappears.
He's good one. Okay.
Then,
All right.
the deed is done. Now, we must go get the green leader and bring him back so that we may free this guy.
Okay. I'll give him a deep bow, and then we should probably leave out.
We
So,
shall return soon.
So you want to go back to the ape camp?
We have to go through there, right?
You do have to go through there, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just in the interest of skipping time and stuff, you'll get there pretty quickly. Without their leader, of course, he has vanished because he's been crushed into a cube. And you have to pass several guard stations to get into the camp. And they say, "Where is our leader? What happened?"
As I told you, the central processing unit has deemed that you are harming the walls by digging holes in it. He was very displeased with your leader
You
and
saw the
crushed
creature?
your leader.
Oh, no. And they just shout, "Cancel meeting!" And they all just rush down but the people at the guard post stay at the guard post, but everybody else rushes together and they start chattering wildly.
Perhaps we should make our move while they're.
Yes, I think it best to slip out now.
Yeah, you can do that. You get back to the green camp.
Follow us, robot.
Yeah. Fernando.
It's Fernando. I mean, that's what I named it anyways.
Yes, Fernando. Follow us.
I will return to cleanse this area at a later date. Affirmative.
That is affirmative.
So yeah, he follows you back to the green guys.
So we need to go in the main area where the their
Mhm.
leader is.
Yeah, you can do that. They don't stop you. They recognize you when you come back.
So I don't know, Professor. Do you want to, since you are the keeper of the holy texts, do you want to take this heart?
Of course.
And you can see it's black and it's got bits of machinery in it. So it's like instead of the heart pumping, there's like a sort of pump inside the heart that does it. So it's still going the whole time.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. So I'll hand it over to the professor, and kind of maybe wrap it in a cloth or something and give it to him.
Mm-hmm. You've done it. Excellent. Wonderful.
Yes, no task is beyond the professor.
Well, do you wish to leave? We can show you the way out.
Indeed. However, before I leave, I have a proposition for this deed.
Go on.
In return, I would like to copy down the psionic book once more.
But you have a copy already.
Ah, yes, had a copy. You see, it was a great battle, and mine was destroyed whilst dealing with these naysayers.
And yet you are unscathed, all of you. Was it so easy?
Yes, we acquired a companion on the way.
Yes, one of the cleaners.
Yes, Fernando.
Oh yes, I know him well. He says, very well. I will allow it. You have done us a great service.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
I
you
do
can
have
take
a question, though.
Mhm.
What are you going to do with this heart? What are your plans with this heart?
Well, we must go to the creature so that he may cleanse this place of their foul presence.
Wow.
Son of a bitch.
Oh well, nothing we can do about that.
It was his plan all along! Dun dun dun!
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
Fernando!
that's good. Yeah.
Fernando!
Fernando!
Very, very good. Yep.
Yes,
Do
Master.
you know the way out of the labyrinth, Fernando?
I am unable to leave. I must
can't
patrol. He
us.
basically he explains that he only patrols the area between the green camp and the black camp, and he's unable to leave that area or he will shut down.
You know, if you wanted to rain down hell on these guys, I'd be willing to turn a blind eye. Sometimes, you know, for the greater good, sacrifices must be made. When you're presented with two choices and they're both bad, you still have to make a choice.
I choose to be let out of this accursed maze.
Fernando, are you able to give us directions on how to leave the labyrinth?
Maybe. I have only, what would you say, patrolled certain areas. I do not know beyond this area. I could attempt to scan it.
Go ahead and scan the area and see if you can give us directions on how to leave the labyrinth, please.
Affirmative. And you see like a panel opens up in his head and a little orb comes out. Rushes off in that direction. And it gets to the other side of the green camp and just blows up. It seems that I am unable to leave this area. No part of me can escape. I was programmed to patrol the area between the two camps.
And isn't this camp, isn't it messy? Doesn't it need to be cleaned up as well, Fernando?
If you say so. They have not damaged the walls. However, there is much plant life around here, which must be eradicated, if you deem it so.
Make it rain.
The only problem I have is if we do that, who's going to continue to guard that creature so no one else gets to it?
Magnificent beard, of course. Are you so easy to forget him in all his splendor?
You just hear like an echo of a meh in your head. Just this lovely image of like magnificent beard on a cliff.
Yeah.
The sun behind him, you know.
Wind blowing.
Yeah. So the guy says, we must go to the creature at the center. If we present it with his heart, he will eradicate the ape people, and we will be the true watchers. They will stop destroying the wall, and all will be well.
Actually, you're wrong in that. You go to the creature and give him that heart, it will free his chains. And what he will do is he will annihilate all your peoples. Because
you can read. They can read minds, right?
Mm-hmm. They say that cannot be true. That is heresy. We have spoken with the Great Spirit here in the Labyrinth, and it has told us that if we bring the heart to the creature, it will destroy the ape people, and we will be the true watchers. We will have mastery over the Labyrinth.
You know what to do, Max. Let him scan your noggin.
Yes, go ahead. Scan us. Scan us and see what he did to the leader of the other troops.
Okay, he does. You feel, again, like the hair in your arm stand up and little kind of crackly smell of ozone for a second, and he recoils back. No, it cannot be. No! And it's like, you see him kind of like almost have a fit, and a lot of them do, because they share, a consciousness. And you just hear them all shout, like, about how, their true purpose, it makes sense all the time, and we have to, oh my god, and the creature, and like this, it all comes back to them like they'd forgotten over thousands of years what they were actually here to do. Oh, we cannot allow that to happen. We must destroy this heart and take it away. Take it with you.
We shall, but we're going to need to know how to leave the labyrinth.
Of course. You have done more here than you could possibly imagine. We will speak to the ape people and explain to them, and we will continue our vigil here. We have regained the knowledge that we had lost. This is important. The creature at the center of this maze is powerful beyond even our understanding. You have done a great thing here. We will show you the way now.
I wouldn't mind having a first edition copy. Surely you realize now that it's not as you thought it was.
You have a copy.
Yeah, but it lacks the the filigree and wonderful binding that the other one has. How about a trade?
Well, you have saved the world beyond what you understand. If this creature were to escape, destruction would rain down on this world like you couldn't even imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So we will.
It's pretty small pittance, really.
We cannot give you the book, but we can give you some of the ciphers that we have hoarded here. We have no use for them.
Go on.
3 ciphers you can take.
Go on.
You can take them, and we will show you the way out.
What do they do? Is it like 3 we get to pick from out of like a whole horde?
No, we only have 3.
It's not much of a horde that you claim to have amassed, really.
If you don't want them, you don't have to take them.
We will take them.
Okay, so they come forward with a pill, a mask, and a sort of little crystal that's got a strap that you could attach to a weapon, it looks like.
Dibs on the mask.
Okay. I guess I'll take the pill, I guess. Is that okay, Maximus?
Go for it.
Okay, alright.
Maximus has Fernando. That's a hell of a prize.
Fernando can't come with him, unfortunately. I mean, he could try if you made him, but you saw the orb exploded when it tried to leave.
I wonder why that is.
Some sort of Deus Ex Machina, I believe. To ensure that Maximus doesn't have a death-dealing robot when it goes in the excavator.
Right.
It was a pretty trivial encounter with this enormous robot on my side.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe Maximus would, you think Fernando would be willing to part with, his guns?
So yeah, you get these things. Like you're all nanos, so I'm going to tell you what they do because you'll figure it out eventually. The crystal is called an ejection nodule, and you attach it to a weapon, and for the next hour, every time you hit something with that weapon, the target strike teleports to a random location within 500 feet. Then the pill is actually a mind control implant. So there's 2 parts. You break it in half. One person takes, you force something to take the pill, you take the other half, and you can control their mind. And the mask is a targeting oculus. You can breathe and sense normally, but all attacks you make are much easier because it's got a targeting implant basically in front of the eye.
Well, that's useful.
Yeah, those are the things you
Professor carries all these weapons.
So they say, we will guide you out of the maze. You have done more than you could possibly know. Is there anything else you'd like to do before you leave?
What was on that ancient text that I gave him? I never even read it.
I don't know. What is it?
I don't know. It was from the last adventure the professor was on when I snatched a bunch of shit from the library.
Oh, it was the Ballo Gallici, which is Julius Caesar's account of the Gallic Wars, an original copy of that.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to need that back.
He's like, no, you gave it to us freely. It is a prize. It's a language we have never seen before.
Okay. If you don't mind, could I just skim over it real quick?
Give away.
All right, I'm going to do that.
How's your Latin, Bruce?
Well, I don't know, but I figure Franklin speaks Latin.
You can attempt to read it, and there are some very small similarities because you're speaking a language, but it's not English. You guys don't speak English. You speak. It's a billion years in the future. The language you speak is very different. But there are some words that seem to be roots of words that you have, but it's very hard to make out. Even Franklin is like.
All right, Franklin, with our powers combined.
This is old beyond. I mean, it's a billion, more than a billion years old. So any attempt at actually reading it would be near impossible.
Damn.
Certainly not with an A.
All right. I didn't win it anyways. I guess we're done.
I can tell you that it's about the war in Gaul, but like it's not going to be any use to the professor.
Right. All right.
So, is there anything else you want to do? Do you want to try and take apart poor Fernando, or are you going to leave him?
I say we take his ass apart, and we could upgrade Maximus.
Yeah.
Get a missile launcher in his shoulder.
Yeah, let's see if there's anything without harming Fernando that we can salvage off of him.
Wise idea, though that's not nearly as fun.
So Fernando is like, please desist. I require all these parts to function. If you were to take me apart, I would not be at maximum capacity of functionality.
It's a sacrifice we're willing to make.
But he could also help to ensure that no one gets to that stupid creature.
Yeah.
Very true.
Very well, Fernando. I will leave all your parts here, and I need to make another addendum, and I'm going to add in there to also to guard to ensure that no one can see the central creature. Basically, inputting it that any creature that attempts to is to be immediately annihilated.
Affirmative. Addendum added.
Do you think you could have Fernando apply that to the other ones as well?
Ooh,
I mean, safety first.
I don't know.
Kind of like
Fernando.
maybe a virus that spreads almost.
Yeah.
Fernando, can you relay this to all the rest of the robots in the facility?
He whirs and beeps for a second. I could attempt it.
Couldn't
We do
hurt.
share a processing matrix.
Yes, very well. Then do so.
Okay, go ahead and give me a machine roll. Difficulty's going to be 12, Keith.
Can I
Okay.
assist him?
How would
Like,
you
he-
assist him?
Well, you see, I would peer into the future and see how this goes for him, and maybe offer a few suggestions in his methodology.
I'll allow it. So you just need a 9 then. Fortunately not.
Crap. Oh well.
So
We
Fernando says, melding incomplete. I am unable to communicate with all of them. Some of them have been communicated with, and I have added this addendum to them.
It's better than just one.
That's true. All right. Very well. You may proceed on your patrol, Fernando.
Affirmative. He walks back towards the center of the maze. So the Greek guys will show you the way out, unless you want to do anything else.
No.
They'll
As we're leaving, I'm gonna keep an ear out for some explosions.
the green guys will show you the way out, and they, again, unerringly, without any kind of hesitation, they're able to kind of walk. And when there is a wall in their way, they kind of, a couple of them together, wave their hands, and it just and disappears. And they bring you back to the entrance, and they say, "Thank you for your help. You have saved the world."
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, yes.
I would like to, if I may, speak with Magnificent Beard again.
On the way out, if you like to, yeah.
Yeah, just tell him what we found, what's going on, and suggest that he deter as a first line of defense, perhaps, to try to help deter people from coming in here, because certain death awaits them.
Hmm. He nods wisely and says, "Meh."
All right, I'll always remember you.
Yeah, you lock eyes for a moment. There's a connection there. So that's going to be it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll just plug your channels before we go. So Keith Hershey's channel is called Keith Hershey Jr., right?
Yep.
And then David Semmes' channel is called David Sem.
Yep.
Yep. And my channel is called YallDM. Bruce is called Bruce Wayne. And thanks for watching.